All roads lead to central government. One response from there is to create a licensed building practitioner regime where there is some certainty about the qualifications of the guy building the key bits of your house. The Minister of Building and Construction, Maurice Williamson, is launching the initiative today, and I've been invited in my capacity as President of Hobans.
If you take John Gray's profession, for example, that of being an airline pilot, how would you feel if the guy sitting up in the front left-hand seat today when you fly back to Wellington or that was actually a baker up until Tuesday but decided I'll have a crack at flying planes?
I've had many meetings and discussions with the Minister. My work with thousands of Leaky homeowners has made me something of an expert. I suppose he sees us as being on the same side. Over the decades we've had people playing in this business who just shouldn't have been there.
Yeah, well look, again, a house is your most important asset you'll ever invest in. And you say to people, would you fly in an aeroplane with a guy who had been a baker up until Tuesday and said, I'll have a crack at flying an aeroplane? Would you let someone who's never built a house build your house? Well, can they do that? Yeah, of course they can. Anyone can, up until now, and that's part of the problem. Okay, cool.
I get the feeling Maurice hasn't looked into the eyes of Leaky homeowners. The walking dead, I sometimes think. And it's only one small step in addressing a problem that's been slowly growing inside the walls of houses for 2 decades. I want to make sure these politicians and bureaucrats fully understand the scale of the problem and if there's any commitment to finding a lasting solution.
Good afternoon, Officer Maurice Williamson.
We would really like an opportunity to put this question to the Minister on camera because there's some very key issues, as I said, that go well beyond just the Leaky homes.
It's highly unusual that a government minister has been interviewed by the head of a lobby group, but if I can ask you to resubmit another request, then I can certainly relook at it and come back to you.
Maybe it's because I'm questioning the government's responsibility in all of this, that Maurice Williamson doesn't want to talk to me anything.
Thank you. Goodbye.
I'm getting the same story from everyone. They won't talk to me because I'm not a journalist, and that it would set a precedent. Goodness knows what sort of precedent it would set. So if Maurice won't talk to me, I'm going to have to go and try to speak with the Prime Minister.
Hello John, Kevin Taylor here from the PMO.
Yes, just wanted to follow up on the possible interview with the Prime Minister.
We won't be doing interviews with the head of a lobby group. The precedents it would set would be rather interesting.
If you were looking for a building where every barrier failed, this is it. Pepperwood Mews in West Auckland. Badly built, badly supervised, badly inspected and ultimately signed off by council. In less than 5 years, this building is showing so many structural defects it will probably need to be demolished. Seems a good place to meet Phil Twyford, opposition spokesperson for building and construction. To date, he's the only politician who'll now speak to me, and I'm hoping he'll have some ideas about how I can get to the PM, given the brick wall I'm banging my head against. No one's been prepared to talk. There's a sort of total lack of transparency. We get media blocks all over the place. Can you suggest any way that I might be able to get to the people, that will be able to answer some of these questions?
Look, it's a free country, and I think you should come down to the People's Parliament and with a camera and a microphone, and put your questions direct to the Prime Minister as he walks from the beehive through to the debating chamber every day that Parliament's sitting before question time, and there's a scrum of 25 journalists all there with their microphones and cameras asking the questions of the day.
It's certainly a way to get to the PM. Trouble is, no one gets into the media scrum without approval from the Speaker of the House and the Press Gallery Committee. I've come to Wellington because it looked like we were going to get permission. At the 11th hour, Jane Patterson, the chair of the Press Gallery Committee, has pulled the plug.
I'm actually flat out at the moment, John. We've just had a breaking story. Can I call you back?
We were just wanting to sort of get to the bottom of why there was really a pushback in terms of not allowing me to get in there. I'm just wondering if you would be prepared to come on camera and talk about it.
No, I'm not, because it's our discretion as to who gets accreditation or access.
Well, the red carpet is certainly not for me, and it's been incredibly frustrating that the politicians and the bureaucrats are just blocking us and refusing to talk to me. Any more bright ideas?
Make as big a fuss as possible, I would say.
The government has kicked up their own fuss by releasing their rescue package for Leaky homeowners. They're offering 25% of agreed cost to repair, as long as the council picks up 25%, and the homeowners will have to find the rest themselves. If you've been following my journey, you'll know I think the government still doesn't understand the scale of the problem and the human cost involved. But it has brought the subject back under the spotlight, and I've been invited onto Close Up to lock horns with Maurice Williamson, the man who won't be interviewed by me on this very subject.
There's an offer on the table and it's take it or leave it time. Maurice Williamson, is it enough?
I think it's a very, very good package that actually gets some houses fixed.
The reality is that the government guarantee will not necessarily guarantee that they will get a loan, because they have to meet the same lending criteria that any bank will impose.
Look, I think it's great that you guys are now going to be talking to each other, but just...
And sure enough, there's a thawing in relations. The PM's press secretary sent me an email offering an interview with Maurice Williamson. Hang on, the PM's press secretary? And there were conditions. It had to be at his office at the Beehive, no more than 20 minutes long, and on the agreement we wouldn't try to hassle the Prime Minister at media opportunities. So, here we go.
Morning, Prime Minister.
How you going?
John Gray.
Oh, yeah, how's things?
Good.
Yeah.
Can you spare me a few minutes to talk Leaky Homes?
Yeah, sure, fire up.
I've been trying to get through to talk to you. It's a huge problem that we're dealing with.
My view is we're at a point where so many New Zealanders are affected, and so badly affected, that we need to give them some support. I think I personally would actively encourage people to take up the program, and we're going to put in a quarter of all of those returns. The council's put in a quarter. Look, in the end, there's always going to have to be a balance here, and for anyone, whether they're on a benefit or otherwise, the package allows them to have guaranteed access to funds to repair their homes. And I think if they do that, then over time, with the appreciation of the property market, they will get through it.
None of this is going to be particularly helpful to someone like Lisa Marie, a sickness beneficiary diagnosed with a progressive disease and now mother of one. She used all of her life savings to buy a property with a small mortgage.
I'm just an average Kiwi person, and I thought I was doing everything by the books by going through the real estate, the lawyers and the Christchurch City Council, and they're the people that should be protecting me.
How much per unit is it going to cost, you think?
Well, approximately we've been told $100,000 in the first year. This unit cost me $180,000 when I bought it, and I put down $130,000 deposit.
I don't think there is any way a bank is going to lend Lisa Marie the funds she would require to pay for her share of the repairs. So along with thousands of others like her, she will be stuck in her leaky home nightmare.
I mean, the place might as well be demolished, you know what I'm saying? Because my life's going to be demolished. I'm saying I want to go away from it.
Yeah.
But I guess I just feel like I'm living in this box and I can't get out.
Is it realistic to expect someone on a benefit to be able to pay off a loan?
Well, look, over time, we also want to get people off benefits. I mean, our aim is to try, and that's one of the reasons why the government's so focused on economic growth. Okay, thanks very much. See you later.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Well, I'm afraid I'm not convinced that the Prime Minister or his advisers have a real understanding of the nature of the problem. And it's not so much about the policies that they've created, it's about the people. And they don't have an understanding of what it's like to be a leaky homeowner. I have looked into the eyes of thousands of good New Zealanders who have been affected by this problem, and I have a real understanding. As far as responsibility goes, we've explored a range of people and entities that have had their part to play in creating this horrible mess. But there's not one real source, albeit that the government of 1991 introduced the Building Act, which actually freed up the whole process and allowed this disaster to take hold. The solution? In my opinion, the first thing that the government should be doing is reintroducing the loan scheme, which enables the owners to get on and fix their houses, but to defer capital and interest repayments until their house is sold or their claim is settled, whichever comes first. The other important thing is to ensure that we have a clear standard established for remediation so that good builders can be encouraged to get into this line of work, and therefore where there are more players in this space we can reduce the cost. We also need to look at a not-for-profit supply chain, again in order to drive out costs, but overall the focus must be on the quality outcomes to ensure that these remediated houses do not fail again. But the most important thing of all is that we need to damn well get on with it.
In Canada, if you're a professional engineer or an architect, you are personally responsible that whatever you design and are responsible for building won't fail. And you can't hide behind numbered companies and a year from now, you're always responsible. British Columbia Institute of Technology has a building science degree, and not just for engineers and architects, but for carpenters.